It's always later.
What he does with the mic.
That's when it starts getting exciting.
I know.
You can truly watch Facebook.
Oh, man.
What are you doing?
It's crazy.
You know, and I enjoy watching Major League Ball games.
Oh, that's your middle name.
Something different about watching. Yes. It's just pure. I mean, they're working
What are you
so
just
hard to be
doing? A joke about now?
the best at their craft or to get that attention or to promote themselves for the next. I mean, they are.
Oh.
They're machines, man. They eat, sleep, breathe, and breathe. You can see it. That competitiveness is awesome.
ESPN Plus, man, you can watch it
All the time. Is it time?
No, you have a few more minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, you're twisting. I agree. Here you go.
The other year, we all went out there for the sideline years. LSU, Cal State.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Well, the LSU people were tailgating out there. And TJ were gonna stand there. I get to watch the game.
Are you giving it to me?
45 foot.
Really?
Jesse, is it true?
Jesse, close enough? Please give me the roll.
Oh, okay. Make this yours.
Boom. All right. Call the meeting to order. Would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, would you please take a roll?
Councilman Madsen?
Here.
Councilman Montoya?
Here.
Councilman Kaufman?
Here.
Councilman Allison?
Present.
Mayor Graves?
Here. You have before you an agenda. We have one addition to the agenda. Under section D, number 2, would you add Gary Bjorklund, please? And then I would entertain a motion to accept the agenda as amended.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion will carry. You have before you the consent agenda, and for the purpose of discussion, I would entertain a motion to approve and place to record the consent agenda items.
So moved.
Is there discussion? Any update on Steinhausen?
I talked to Frank this morning. Frank had a couple of changes he was supposed to email to me. I didn't see him at noon when I checked my office. And then also, I was under the impression Daryl was only gonna put one side of a hangar up, you know, the west side. but I don't think that works, and so I told Frank probably three-sided in a roof, maybe the front enclosed. And we talked to Josh, and this morning, Candy and I called Josh, and he said he thought that would be fine. He wanted to be able to store tractors and cars there, and I told Frank, no, that's a non-starter, so. If Frank got them to me, the changes won't be very hard, I don't think.
Okay. Did your 16th Street meeting go good?
Yes, my 16th Street. Yes, we reviewed the final plans, made a couple changes. We're starting on the north end of Mr. Wyndham's home, right there, and then we'll start at Cedar Street corner there, and still planning to go to bid in November.
How are we coming along with the Little League field and all that?
You know what, I will let Mr. Martin answer that question, Walter.
So currently, we're just waiting for the Little League season to complete before they go back and finish that second side.
Oh, okay.
One of the things they're gonna have to do, they have to dig some gravel back from that one backstop that's really falling in. So you have to dig some dirt out of that and stand it back up and then fill it back in, and we just felt like that was too big of a hazard to just leave open while the kind of kids come and go every day. So once the Little League season's over, then we'll go back and build that second half. And then on the first half, there's a couple of places he has to go back, fill in some of the welds. Obviously, he was in a pretty good rush. A couple of places where it wasn't quite welded all the way around.
Sure.
So he's gonna finish that up and add some bigger fillets at the bottom of the some of the posts and some things. So
Okay.
we'll get that all cleaned up and then painted after the season's over.
All right, thanks.
Appreciate it.
I guess speaking of the Little League fields, I see Tabitha got the grant in, so thanks you guys for doing that.
Yes.
I know Toby's swamped, maybe on the bottom of his list. Will you be able to get out to our infamous property on Front Road? Well, storage and mow around that. The house where we store all the Christmas stuff.
The Alden House, yeah, I've talked to him about that, that's kind of, we're looking at that as a fall project.
Not gonna mow it till fall.
Oh, mow it.
Mow it.
Oh, okay, I thought you were
Yeah,
talking about what we
that's
talked
big
about.
for us, yeah.
Okay,
I mean, yeah, especially once that dries out. Not that it would hurt.
mow around that, do we? Okay,
Keep the snakes away, that they're always weirded out. At least they can see them better.
I don't think anybody's keeping the snakes. Okay, no, I'll talk to him.
No, it's,
I think he does that.
yeah, go to,
Kind of around.
drive over there and see it, it's looking, the rest of the areas, people are
Okay,
taking
nope,
care of their farm ground and stuff, that's looking pretty rough.
okay, I'll talk to him. I think we were talking about the other project we were talking about with the Alden House this fall.
Oh, no. Demo inside.
Clean it up.
Any other discussion at this time? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion will carry. Section D, which is petitions, memorials, proclamations, and public comment. Item number 1 is we have have the Secretary of State, Mr. Chuck Gray here, and he would like to take the podium and speak.
Yes, thank you. Oh, I go here, okay. Thank you. Well, thank you for placing me on the agenda, Clerk Wright, and thank you to the City Council for having me here. And certainly it's here in December, as you will probably remember, talk a little bit about the Wheatland Water Tower project and a couple things I want to do in a few minutes addressing the council here today. One, I also want to introduce, we have our intern, Jesse Campbell here. He's interning for our office, and he's at Ave Maria Law School. He's a 1L, so very excited to have Jesse interning with us. He's from Cody. As you know, I serve on the State Loan and Investment Board, one of the 5 members there, and tonight I want to come before the council concerning the Wheatland Water Tower. I do want to be clear, as I know all of you do when you speak at events, that I'm speaking in my individual capacity as a member of the board and not on behalf of the entire board, but as one member. With our next meeting coming up, in which we will consider mineral resource grant applications, I wanted to come before you and see if the town has any input concerning the process. First, I want to be clear that I'm in full support of providing full funding for the Wheatland Water Tower and view it as an emergency project. As a member of the State Loan and Investment Board, I've always emphasized the need for infrastructure spending for projects just like these. From the start, when this issue came to the attention of the board, it was clear that this is an emergency situation. And when SLIB initially heard the emergency application for the Wheatland Water Tower in January, we were led to believe that there would be other opportunities for funding the rest of the project. And this opportunity came about during the 2024 legislative session, when a much needed provision in the budget was aimed at fully funding the rebuild of the water tower using federal funds and ARPA funds that would expire at the end of the year. However, in a surprising and frankly troubling move, Governor Gordon line item vetoed this portion of the budget, citing Representative Jeremy Haraldson's criticism of other parts of the budget as part of his reasoning. Now, I want to give out here my response because, believe it or not, our office records those vetoes. That's in the Wyoming State Constitution. So I sent a letter back to the governor discussing his veto. You can pass that around and any extras can go around. So the section where we talked about this is at the very end. It's on page 6. And I'm just going to quote from, I mean, you can read the first 2 paragraphs, but I want to quote from the 3rd paragraph. In attempting to explain the line item veto, and again, this is on page 6, the last page, very back. In attempting to explain the line item veto, you state that Representative Haraldson's vote against the entire budget played a role in your decision to line item the appropriation. As a former legislator, I can tell you that voting against the budget does not mean that you object to every portion of the budget. And frankly, that argument that appears in the governor's line item veto, I view it as absurd. Representative Haraldson has been consistent from the start about his support of the demolition and complete rebuild of the Wheatland Water Tower. The Wheatland Water Tower represented about 0.018% of the spending within the budget. Representative Haraldson's no vote on the entire budget is clearly a reflection of the dramatic increase in spending in the overall budget, much of it on unneeded items rather than about that specific item. Your explanation is retaliatory and puts lives in danger while also discouraging needed discourse on the budget in the future, unquote. In my opinion, the veto has endangered the citizens of Wheatland was completely inappropriate. Despite this troubling veto, we've been working hard to ensure the Wheatland Water Tower is given full consideration. I sent a letter on April 3rd asking the governor to place this on the agenda of the SLIB board as soon as possible. We were assured this would be given full consideration for the MRG meeting in June, and I'll be advocating for the MRG application at the next State Loan and Investment Board meeting. I've been speaking with staff at the Office of State Land and Investments who have assured me your application is being forwarded to our full attention. Our understanding is that at the end of the week, we're going to get staff's recommendations, and I'm going to do all I can to get the full amount. And I'm confident that that's going to be successful at the meeting next week. Again, thank you. I'm fully supportive of ways that we can work together to ensure the Wheatland Water Tower is rebuilt. And if you have any questions, you all know my cell, which is, or if you don't, it's 251-1372. You can contact me anytime. Willie has it. I always get Councilman Allison, always get great texts from Councilman Allison. So really appreciate working with you. I'm going to hand out the April 3rd letter I sent to the governor as well on getting this on the agenda as soon as possible. And now, if there's any questions or anything, just want to be here and express my support for the water tower rebuild, and anything you think is falling through the cracks with the Office of State Lands and Investment now or at any time, just let me know in the next 2 weeks and beyond. So, thank you.
Secretary, I appreciate you coming here and telling us where you at on this, because we didn't really know if our standard had fallen to hit the ground or, after. Unfortunately, it was political backgammon, or not backgammon, but badminton, and we were stuck in the middle with this. And as you stated right here, this isn't an emergency situation, and there's no way that politics should have been involved in denying that.
Well,
And I appreciate you sticking up for it.
Well, thank you, Mr. Montoya. And I got to tell you, I am very disappointed in the way this has been handled. At the January meeting, they said, well, let's use federal funds for the rest of the project. And that's what Representative Haroldson was directed to forward to the full legislature. Well, then he did that, and then they vetoed the federal funds and said, well, we can handle this through MRG state funds. So, I mean, it's been circular since January. They completely, and to me, it's all just been in a back and forth, like you said, in politics rather than what's right, which is that this should be funded in its entirety. It's an emergency situation. And in January, of course, we funded the demolition, but we need to get this rebuild done. And every minute that is ticking is a minute wasted. So I feel strongly that this is going to get done, but very supportive of it, and we need to get this to the finish line on June 20th.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Secretary.
Thanks.
Thank you for making time to come and speak with us about it.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Can't deny your unwavering support because you see it everywhere, but to have you come in person, it means a lot. I mean, thank you.
This is a really important project, Mayor Graves, and I'm here to serve the people of Wyoming, and I want to make sure that Platte County is always heard, and everybody in Wyoming is always heard. So just contact me anytime. That's cell 251-1372. So thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Chuck. Hey,
See you.
Agenda item number 2 is Gary. You're up.
Well, I'm Gary Bjorklund. I'm the former owner of the Ace Hardware store who sold it a year ago. And I sat on the sidelines long enough. I can't take it anymore. And I'm going to be running for the District 6 Senate seat. I don't like what's happening in the country, and it's been moving, unfortunately, into Wyoming as well. So I'm a conservative guy, and I'm not a give a little to get a little, because I think over the course of years, we've given way too much. And now we've got to make some changes and some corrections, so that's the object. I'm not there for me, I'm there for the state of Wyoming and Platte County. Oh, and Platte County hasn't had a senator in over a decade. They've all come from down in Laramie. And for the District 6, there are 6 people running. There's 2 of us from Platte County, and then the other 4 are out of Laramie County. So I appreciate any consideration and support. We'll have a mailer coming out in about 2 weeks. And, we had a snafu with our signs, but we got that resolved this morning, so they'll be headed our way soon. Any questions?
Good luck, Gary.
Good luck.
Yeah, thank you, Gary. Yeah,
Thank you.
thanks for stepping up.
Tracy, you want your turn at the podium?
Sure.
Good evening. I sent the economic wellness report. I'm sure Candy passed it on to you guys. there wasn't a whole lot of change from last month. There were a few more houses on the market, which I think is to be expected in the summertime. And other than that, I'd say maybe the most notable thing is our unemployment rate is down to 2.4%. So when you hear employers talk about how they have a hard time finding employees, I'm sure they do when your unemployment rate is only 2.4%. So it's good news. There's lots of people working, but it makes it hard to find people to work. I also sent an article, and I don't know, sometimes I think it's kind of hard to read those online. So I went ahead and I made a copy for you guys to read at your leisure. I sent this article because it talks about Wyoming's aging population and how it is growing so much faster than our state population. So the very first line there, I think, is the biggest shocker. It talks about how between 2010 and 2021, the aging population in Wyoming, which includes those 65 and over, increased 47%, while the state's total population just grew 2%. So I really thought that was pretty shocking right there. And I read some other articles as well, because there's lots of information right now on this. And it talks, the other articles I talked about, they included information on opportunities that this presents. And one of the things I thought was really interesting is they talked about, of course, all the things that goes with an aging population in terms of healthcare needs, and a lot of times the elderly need more services, so that provides an opportunity for economic development in terms of people starting business to provide those services. But it also said it's so important as a town and as a county to lure young people in to help take care of the old people. So again, another economic opportunity, but they said you have to find ways to lure those young people to either stay, come back, or come that haven't ever lived here before. So I just thought that was an interesting kind of turn and twist to look at it. And I think one of the things that we'll need to think of in the future, especially with like 6-penny tax, is how do we use money to make our communities more young people friendly? What can we do to have people come back so that they can take care of the people that are here and moving in? So just something to think about. I just thought that was all really good information, and information that we should kind of have on the backs of our minds there. Some things that are going on around town, and you probably know this, but I think it's just good to kind of know that the survey that we took in April, the number one thing that people said they wanted in Wheatland, and this was like just the general public, was food. And there are some restaurants and some things happening in town. So I think that's kind of exciting. There's the Messy Fingers, they're calling it, and it's just on 9th Street here, and it's next to like the Landmark. Okay, so that's a place that opened. Brooklyn's Tavern, a pizza place, is going to open on the corner of Gilchrist and 9th Street. There's a new eatery bakery going in next to the Wanderer. And then Roots 307, that building has been purchased by Dan Brecht, and he's moving his used bookstore into that building. Cowboy Drug, they have a new building going up south of the Legacy Home. And then Derby Home is working toward adding Italian food along with their charcuterie boards and expanding their menu with that. So really quite a few things going on and some exciting stuff happening. So that is what I have for you this month. I have one more thing. At that meeting, May 9th, when we when we met, with Willie Allison was there as representative for the town, and the commissioners were there, and we talked a little bit about economic goals and things. One of the things that came up as an actionable item is me having more of our county having more footprint on that Insight website where people go and they look at information about your town and their county. In July, I plan to attend a conference where it's a training where they teach you how to load all that information in there. So just something coming up, so that'll be interesting. So I'll give you more information about how that went later this summer. Do you have any questions? Anything
Sure.
else for me?
Sure, Tracy. So I guess in conjunction with this article, this interesting information, is that coinciding with this, I see you got on here, 9 teachers resigned, but they're only replacing 7. Is that
You know that-
enrollment gonna go down next year?
No, that really wasn't retirement. I think, from what I understand, only one of those was a retirement. So I've heard Superintendent Weigel talk about more right-sizing the district according to population, so student population. So I think when they talk about, you know, who they're replacing and kind of looking at what's necessary and what they need, the administrator that they're not replacing is the administrator from Peak High School. And Mr. Philo is moving to Rollins and he's the administrator over there. So Mr. Sandlin's going to take on those responsibilities along with Wheatland High School. And then the teachers, I think it was just kind of life circumstances from what I understand, people moving and taking jobs. And
So, I guess maybe, I didn't, so the backfilling from 9 to only 7, are they anticipating our enrollment going down student-wise?
I don't think they think it's going to drop anymore. I think it's just, they did some combining and they just looked at, for example, kind of an attrition thing. Like, I know they're not replacing a 2nd grade teacher that retired. So instead of having 4, they're going to have 3 more. So that kind of thing.
Okay, thanks.
Anything else?
So is that meeting that I attended with you and the county commissioners, as I know we talked about all getting together and getting our brains working, is that still on your thought process?
On my radar?
Yeah.
Yep. I think that it would be a good time to meet after I attend that training so that we can look at exactly what would be the most useful information and how we can gather that information and have that kind of as a data warehouse for the county and the communities in Platte County.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Tracy.
Is there any other public comment at this time? Yeah.
So, out of a couple different complimenting the park area and stuff down there, and then they had a couple comments about the concern going beyond the 3-day camping. So do we monitor that much anymore? Or?
Is the chief here?
Yeah, I'm here. So, yes, the Parks Department and us, we try to keep an eye on it. I mean, do we go out there and mark their trailers and know exactly when they got there? No, but we do try to keep an eye on it. The one letter we got, I went down there and looked because I was kind of confused. She was talking about bicycles laying and they couldn't go around. And
It's in grass growing underneath the trailer.
I couldn't find that. I've talked to the park guys. They didn't know what that was. I think it was another camper there that had kids with bikes and they're strewing around in their campsite. And when they left, the dog poop and stuff was cleaned up. So I didn't really see an issue from that letter, but we tried to keep an eye on it.
I mean, I drive by there all the time. I didn't really recognize anything staying there for
We
a
get
long
a
period
couple of
time.
them. Most of them come and go, and it's not a big deal. But I know the parks guys and I will talk if we have one down there.
It seems like a very busy area during lunch hours, you know. Everybody goes down there. Are we add any more tables yet? Did Toby get to that point?
So he just hasn't got to it. They've been working on sprinklers a lot.
I saw the park here, but the ball field flag.
They'll get it done. They always do.
Yeah, no. Thanks, Chief.
Any other public comment at this time? Hearing none, we'll move on to unfinished business. Item number 1, which is ordinance number 850, which is an ordinance establishing business licensing for food service establishments, mobile trucks, units, and stands. It is on second reading.
So we did receive one written email, public comment, so I included that in your packet. And I did send her some of her information was incorrect, so I just sent her the ordinance on first reading plus the resolution.
Mayor, we have a public hearing on the liquor license in less than a minute.
All right. Well, before we dive into this, we'll just
You
do
want a
that.
motion for the second reading, or you want to talk about it?
Well,
I would come back to it
Yeah.
in case there's any comments out there. I mean, we got 1 minute.
We adjourn into the public hearing.
yeah.
Yeah,
But we probably can.
sure. Yeah.
Okay. All right, well, we'll adjourn or discontinue the meeting for going into a public hearing for a liquor license transfer application, correct? Did I say that right?
Yes, you did.
So, Homax Oil Sales Incorporated has filed an application to transfer the liquor license of Jin Min, doing business as I-25 Pit Stop, to Homax Oil Sales. And Jessica is here from Homax. Their application was complete, sent off to the state. And then included in your packet was a letter from Jessica addressing when the sale would be final. Hitting on the transaction.
Does anybody have any questions for Jessica?
It says that some of your contingent was some updates or inspections. The location will still remain separate from the
Yes,
convenience store.
yes. It was just some of the inspections, I think some stuff with the roof and other things like that that we need to get
What's
fixed
Homax?
and kind of worked out.
Oil.
Did it have liquor license?
So you still have the bar and the liquor store?
Yes, yes. At this 2 minutes, when we get in there, we're new to the bar business. We've done packaged retail liquor before, so at this 10 minutes, yes, I think everything is going to stay the same, and we'll try to get in there and figure it out and see how Jen had run things and take it from there. But the goal, we will keep it separate from the store.
Looking at bringing your old manager down from Casper?
No, we're gonna have Lisa stay on with us, and however many staff would like to. So there.
That's good.
Yep.
She's a real talker, ain't she?
Oh, sorry. Did you? Yeah, we're really looking forward to it. You know, I haven't spent a ton of time in Wheatland, but we've acquired stores over the years. So I actually had the Glen Rock Town Council meeting at 5:30. So what that is an application for a liquor license that we've gotten there. And we're going to be incorporating that into our store as well. And then I've got 2 other locations that also offer alcohol in them. You know, so we're fairly familiar with that side, but we're excited to come to Wheatland and, you know, make some updates to the store and do some remodeling. It'll have to give me a little bit of time to get all that done, but we're really looking forward to it and being in the community.
And you guys are buying the whole thing?
Yes.
Do we need a motion on this?
You see if you have any people objecting to the transfer.
They're raised as hell. I don't know.
Anybody in the audience want to speak for or against the transfer of the liquor license pending the closing of the sale? Hearing none, then I would entertain a motion to transfer the license upon the closing date of June 25th, contingent upon completion of the inspection and updates. Is that fair? Does that
Yes, I
sound
think
good?
that's fair. So yeah, it should happen that day. So.
So moved on that.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion?
Welcome.
Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion will carry. And now we will adjourn the public hearing and reconvene the regular council meeting. With unfinished business, item number 1, which is ordinance 850. I suppose for the purpose of discussion, we could have a motion on ordinance 850. or
Yeah,
do
I'll
we
make a
just wanna
motion to approve ordinance number 850, an ordinance establishing business licensing for food service establishments, mobile trucks, units and stands. Second reading.
Yep.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there discussion?
You're not here to talk, Donna?
Well, I would like a copy of the ordinance. I haven't seen anything.
It's been on our website and we've had it available here at Town Hall since for a month. People have called and asked for it, and we gave it to anybody that's asked.
So Doug, I got a question for you. So for example, the little snow cone trailer, it's towed, but it has minimal cooking and seasoning. So is it a food stand?
I don't know. I thought about that the other day.
Walter's been working on this, so Walter, what would you consider this snow cone?
I think that would be a food unit, which basically is what that's for, the prepackaged food and the minimal preparation.
I think they'd have to buy the permit.
Oh, I know that, but I mean, I was just seeing where it categorizes.
Yeah, that would
based
be
on the resolution of different categories. I was just curious on that one. The others are pretty self-explanatory, but I was just curious on that one.
I did invite Walter Martin here. He, as building inspector, he would be in charge of handle this. It's under his part of the code. So if you guys have any questions for him, he's here tonight.
here.
Donna, before I call a vote, do you see anything you would like to speak to or add or give us food for thought before?
Not
we-
at this time.
Food for thought.
Food for thought. No pun intended. Well, hearing no comment, all in favor of ordinance 850 on second reading, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion will carry. Looks like we're on to new business item number 1, which is the lease agreement with Ruth Hurt.
Mayor, I marked in yellow, and the only thing I changed is the year, so we'll just, we didn't increase the rent. I talked to Ruth and we didn't have any changes, so the only thing that's changed is extending it for another year. And we'll put it on the council agenda next year, a little earlier.
Make a motion to approve the lease agreement by and between Ruth Hurt and the town of Wheatland.
Second.
Starting on June 1st, start on 2024.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Ordinance 851, an ordinance amending ordinance 841, which is water rates. You have a copy of the current and the new proposed ordinance in front of you. I believe there was also a sheet that illustrated what that change would look like.
So last October, we implemented a water rate increase, and so we talked about doing it again this year. And this is at the request of the SLIB board, SLIB office, and the Wyoming Water Development Commission all discussed our low water rates. So we're in the process of addressing those low rates and slowly increasing them so we can help ourselves. But we did Tabitha work today, and we did a sheet for you guys to see where, with the new change, how it would address each of you and certain businesses in town.
We got water less, Doug, I can see.
I can see that too, but I probably won't have it.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance number 851.
I'll second that.
First reading.
First reading, yeah, amending ordinance number 841. First reading.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there further discussion?
Yes, I think this is good. I think it's perfect timing, Secretary Gray, so you can see it firsthand. We are working. We do get pushback from the state about our rates being low and asking for grants, so we're doing our due diligence to help our situation too. So I guess you witnessed that we are trying to increase our water rates, so I'm here for that too. So I guess just for somewhat public consumption, we're going up like for residential, the minimum of 10,000 gallons, we're going up from $30 to $32.50. And as you increase the amount of gallons you use, then it gets incremented more based on different formulas. 10,000, 1 gallons to 20,000, it'll go up 80 cents, 70 cents. But these are,
Per thousand.
yeah,
Per thousand.
per thousand.
And this ordinance shows an increase for
Yeah, it's a-
24, 25, and
it's a
26 for
three-step.
the next 3 years.
So we've got, in the first reading, we got time if we want to look at these numbers. I
Yes.
hate to say it, I think they're a little low, but we've got time to look at it.
We are low.
My election year, so. all I had.
Any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. I guess while we're beating the drum, we'll just rip the Band-Aid off and do ordinance 852, which is amending ordinance 733, which has to do with wastewater service charge.
So we made a change, so I put the updated ordinance in front of you tonight. So review that one, not the one that was in your packet, please.
Oh, okay.
So on sewer, we had not updated the sewer rates for 17 years.
What was the change? The highlighted was in the packet, and then this one.
Yes, so on the
Just
second
save time.
paragraph, it says commercial users will pay a total charge equal to their monthly water usage divided by 6,600 multiplied by $11.80. We just kind of changed the language a little bit to be more clear on commercial users.
Gotcha.
And then we also, from the previous ordinance, dated 2006 or whatever it was, that sewer services outside town limits will pay 1 1/2 times the household or commercial rate for sewer users residing within the town limits. And this is to keep us consistent with how we do electric and water. Because right now we charge them 1 1/2 times, so this just makes us consistent.
I make a motion, we approve ordinance 852, ordinance amending appendix B of ordinance 733 for the establishment of each user's wastewater service charge.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. You have before you a change order, which is number 4 to the agreement for the South Street Underground Phase 2 electric project from our engineering.
So we've continued to have weekly meetings on this project. We have, they've hired a landscaper, he's been working, they've been pulling new wire. Seems to, fingers crossed, going well at this time. They hope to be done by June 28th. So this is change order number 4 for the engineering to get us through the end of this project. For $16,860.
Make a motion to approve change order number 4, the agreement for South Street Underground Phase 2 for our engineering.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion will carry. You have before you Resolution 06-2024, which is a budget amendment. Would you like to speak to it, Andy?
Sure. So, Resolution 06-2024 is amending our current budget, fiscal year 23-24. Sanitation Department incurred approximately $60,000 of unanticipated tipping fees, and Parks and Recreation has incurred approximately $12,350 of unanticipated costs for the Legion build, is what it's for. And capital projects, we did not complete all our capital projects, or they were moved to fiscal year 24-25. So we are looking at transferring money from capital projects to the Sanitation Department and to Parks and Recreation.
I'll make a motion to accept resolution 06/2024.
Been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. We also have, for you, I don't know what I did with mine,
So resolution 7/2024 is at the front of your packet. It was our budget hearing.
but.
Oh.
I was gonna put it in there twice, but. So this is the resolution for our budget for fiscal year 24-25.
Yeah, we just need a motion to adopt the budget as presented, correct?
You might comment that you didn't have any comments concerning budget or at all from the public. We just made a motion to approve the resolution.
Well, from our budget hearing at 6:30 and no public comment, I would entertain a motion to approve resolution 7/2024, which is the fiscal year 25 budget.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 07-2024, fiscal year 2025 budgets as per our public hearing at 6:30, no public comment.
Second. Been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. You have in front of you a cooperative agreement with YDOT. It's the amended 16th Street CRIP grant agreement. Doug, were you good with this?
I think, I just asked Candy, I hadn't really looked at it. I think almost everything's the same except the scope of.
And this scope, so we changed it from Cedar to Swanson.
Yes.
Plus we have updated costs on the back. And this is the agreement that the county is part of, so the county will also have to sign this since it's a county road improvement program.
Yeah, the
Through
CRIP,
YDOT.
CRIP funding, yeah.
They were originally partnered on this project with us too, so they'll have to also sign this.
So I think the scope of work and the amended anticipated costs are really, everything else is almost exactly the same.
Pretty boilerplate anyway.
And I hate to tell you that the state doesn't like to change anything you ask them to do.
I'll make a motion to approve the cooperative agreement with YDOT, amending the 16th Street CRIP grant agreement.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion will carry. Is there any further business at this time to come before the council? Hearing none, we will adjourn the meeting and make the announcement that we have a public workshop on June 24th, and our next scheduled council meeting will be July 8th, right here at 7 o'clock.